Hello, this is the 269th edition of Catch of the Day, available on the Branch Talk YouTube channel. Today we're going to read from a book written by Trent Wildy, The King of Crisis in the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Starting on page 9, first paragraph, we read, "The proposal is that the General Conference take over such unions and operate them as missions attached to the General Conference. That would mean that the GC would then be able to remove present union leadership and replace them with their own appointees. As you can imagine, the amount of tension brought about by this situation has been extremely stressful for conference workers in these unions, and indeed for everyone involved. So far, the GC has not made such dramatic moves as those threatened. One likely reason is that to do so would itself be an act of non-compliance, since the policy which governs such actions, B95, requires that the process start at the division level, not at the GC level. In other words, the GC simply does not have the political authority to reach down to a union of its choosing and dissolve it based on perceived or actual non-compliance." Footnotes at the bottom of page number 9, 31, a website is given, the truth about the real position. 32, another website, Spectrum Magazine. 33, another website, Spectrum Magazine, September 29, 2016. 34, Spectrum, September 30, 2016. See second link in FN 33. 35, Spectrum, October 10, 2016. Website is given, spectrummagazine.org. It is a good thing too, because otherwise corruption at the GC level could quite literally destroy the entire organizational structure of the church. Furthermore, there would be huge practical difficulties in taking over the unions and replacing the leadership, not to mention potential uproar. The uproar might be so great as to seriously split the church. The risk of this far exceeds whatever risk there might be for a split over perceived non-compliance. With the takeover, the union's strategy being so undesirable, ADCOM felt the need to find another way of dealing with non-compliance. This isn't the place to chronicle every effort to end non-compliance, but there are some major moves that are important to be aware of. In July 2018, ADCOM created 5 compliance review committees, each tasked with investigating instances of a certain category of non-compliance. One committee for non-compliance related to GC core policies, another for non-compliance related to ordination, and so on. These committees are then to advise ADCOM regarding how to handle and potentially penalize these non-compliant entities. The structure, methods, and purposes of these committees has led George Knight to nickname those involved the Adventist FBI. It must be remembered that George Knight and others like him have no axe to grind against the church or against those parts of its leadership responsible for these actions. They are, however, deeply concerned. One reason for their concern is that ADCOM is a small in-house group that is not representative of the world church, but they, without the involvement of larger church entities, decided to bring about these committees to carry out a work that has significant implications for every level of the church worldwide. Even more disturbing is the fact that a document which serves as part of the foundation for the operations of these committees had not yet been approved by the General Conference Executive Committee when these committees were established and when 2 of them were activated. Footnotes at the bottom of page 10. 36. Spectrum, August 23, 2018. Website supplied, spectrummagazine.org. Spectrum News 2018. 37. Website supplied, spectrummagazine.org. The document was eventually approved on October 14 at the Autumn Council, but the committees were created back in July, and the committees on core policies and ordination were set into motion in September. The document in question is called Regard for the Practice of General Conference Session and General Conference Executive Committee Actions. Its contents outline the steps to be taken when entities in the church are perceived to be in non-compliance with GC actions, while it states that the process for reporting and correcting non-compliance is to begin at the level immediately above the non-compliant entity. The next level up can easily take over, and this applies all the way up to the GC ADCOM, so that ultimately they can initiate the process of correcting non-compliance anywhere in the world church, if they deem it necessary. To illustrate, the section titled Process for Reporting Perceived Non-Compliance stipulates that the process begin with the administrative level of the church closest to the matter. However, the next sentence says, if any level of organization does not report an issue of non-compliance, it becomes the responsibility of the next higher organization. Page 1, lines 25 and 26. If all that it takes for the responsibility to move up or move to the next higher organization is a lack of report, then all that ADCOM needs in order to take the responsibility upon itself is to have received no report from lower levels. After ADCOM, or a lower level in the administrative structure, goes through the initial process of trying to obtain compliance, if the attempts have failed, ADCOM can get immediately involved via one of its compliance committees. There is provision made for the perceived non-compliant entity to appeal, but only to the assigned compliance committee, and after that to ADCOM, the very committees perceiving the entity to be in non-compliance in the first place. This prosecutor as judge scenario means that an appeal can only be as a request for the members of the compliance committee and ADCOM to change their minds rather than an appeal to a third party who can hold ADCOM and the compliance committee accountable. Footnotes at the bottom of page 11, 38, website, spectrummagazine.org. 39, website, newadventist.org. 40, website, news.adventist.org. Take care.